They sold him for 20 pieces of silver, the going rate for a teenage slave. His own brothers, they threw him in a pit, told their father he was dead, and went home to dinner. But here's what they didn't understand. They weren't just getting rid of a rival. They were launching the most improbable political career in ancient history. This is the story of Joseph, not the Sunday school version, the real one, about what happens when betrayal meets strategy, when trauma meets purpose, and when a 17-year-old slave outmaneuvers the most powerful empire on earth. Jacob had 12 sons, but Joseph was different. Firstborn of Rachel, the wife Jacob actually loved. The others, born to women he tolerated. So Jacob makes him this coat. Not just colorful, the Hebrew word is pasim, meaning long-sleeved, ankle-length royal garment. In a culture where shepherds wore short tunics for work, this was a public announcement. This one inherits everything. Psychologists call this golden child syndrome, and it creates something dangerous in the other siblings. Not just jealousy, resentment that calcifies into rage. Then Joseph starts having dreams. In the first, his brothers' sheaves of wheat bow to his. In the second, the sun, moon, and 11 stars representing father, mother, and brothers prostrate themselves before him. Here's the critical detail. He tells them, every dream, every symbol, he shares it all. Was it naivety, arrogance, prophetic certainty? We don't know, but we know what happened next. Coming from a distance, the coat made him visible miles away. Here comes the dreamer, they said. Not brother, dreamer, as if the dreams themselves were the crime. The original plan was murder. Reuben suggested the pit as a delay tactic, secretly planning to rescue him later. But when Midianite traders appeared with spices, resin, and balm for the Egyptian market, they saw a cleaner option. No blood on their hands, just commerce, 20 pieces of silver, and a story about a wild animal. They dipped the coat in goat's blood, brought it to Jacob, and watched him break. Jacob tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, mourned for years. And Joseph walked into Egypt in chains, 17 years old, no language, no status, no future. Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard, a man with enemies, secrets, and a household to run. He buys Joseph, and Joseph does something that defies every revenge narrative we've been taught. He works. Not just survival work, excellence. The text says Yahweh was with Joseph, but this isn't magic. It's presence in invisible labor, in tasks beneath his dignity, in nights when freedom felt impossible. From slave to household manager, the Hebrew says he ran everything: the keys, the accounts, the other servants, a prisoner with executive authority. Then Potiphar's wife. The text calls her his master's wife, never gives her name, but it gives us her psychology. She lifted her eyes to Joseph, biblical Hebrew for sustained, calculating observation. This wasn't impulse, it was campaign, day after day. Lie with me. In a culture where male slaves had no legal protection against female owners, saying no was dangerous. Saying yes was survival. Joseph chose the third option. How could I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Notice, not sin against my master, against God. Even in Potiphar's house, he maintained a moral framework that transcended his circumstances. She grabbed his garment. He fled naked. She used the evidence of his escape as proof of his attack. And Potiphar, betrayed in his own home, publicly humiliated, chose imprisonment over execution. The pit of his brothers became the prison. Consumed by 7 withered ones. The magicians failed, the wise men failed, and the cupbearer remembered. Joseph, now 30, stood before the most powerful man in the ancient world. No lawyer, no preparation, just the confidence that interpretation belongs to God. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace, not I will interpret. God will. This is Joseph's secret. He never claimed personal power. He channeled something beyond himself. The interpretation, 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine so severe it would erase the memory of plenty. But Joseph didn't stop at diagnosis. He offered a solution. Appoint a commissioner, take 20% of each harvest, store in every city, create reserves for the catastrophe. This isn't just spiritual insight, it's economic policy, infrastructure, resource management, empire building strategy. Pharaoh's response: "Can we find a man like this, in whom is the Spirit of God?" He removed his signet ring, put it on Joseph's hand, dressed him in linen, hung a gold chain, gave him the royal chariot, and declared, "You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you." The slave, the prisoner, the forgotten, now vizier of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh, in charge of the food supply of the ancient world's superpower. Joseph was 30. He'd spent 13 years in slavery and prison, and he named his first son Manasseh, causing to forget, "For God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house." But he wasn't forgetting. He was reframing. 7 years of abundance. Joseph built storage cities, pyrgos, according to some scholars. He created a surplus so vast it would feed nations. Then, the famine. Not just Egypt. All the earth came to Egypt to buy grain because the famine was severe in all lands. Joseph controlled the world's food supply. And then they appeared, 10 men from Canaan, his brothers, 20 years older, weathered by famine, desperate. They didn't recognize him. Egyptian dress, beard, language, authority. He was a completely different category of human being, but Joseph recognized them immediately, and he made a choice that reveals his character. He tested them. He called them spies, imprisoned them, demanded they bring Benjamin, the youngest brother, the only remaining son of Rachel. He kept Simeon as hostage. But while they suffered, Joseph listened. They spoke in Hebrew, assuming the Egyptian official couldn't understand, and he heard their confession. "We are truly guilty concerning our brother. Therefore, this distress has come upon us. And Reuben, did I not say, 'Do not sin against the boy'?" But they didn't listen. Now his blood is required. Joseph turned away and wept, not tears of reunion, tears of validation. His suffering had registered. His brothers had carried moral weight for 2 decades. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was assessment. They returned with Benjamin. Joseph orchestrated a final test. The silver cup in Benjamin's sack. If they abandoned Benjamin to save themselves, they hadn't changed. They were the same men who sold him. But Judah, the same Judah who suggested selling Joseph, stepped forward and offered himself as slave in Benjamin's place. "How can I go up to my father if the Lord is not with me? I cannot bear to see the evil that would come upon my father." Joseph wrote, "Was every man to go out from me, and when they were alone." Joseph, 4 words, 22 years, hid, slavery, prison, rise, all collapsing into revelation. Do not be grieved